Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to League Racing TV for the final round of Season 2 of TTML Division 3. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentis. We'll be taking you through proceedings on a Thursday night, as per usual. And joining me in the commentary box for the final time this season is TTG Conti. Conti, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing really, really well. Thank you for asking. And to be honest, I've been looking forward to tonight this whole week.
Oh yeah, this week this has kind of been the big event for me commentary-wise this week, and probably for League Racing TV. This has been such a hyped final to this season because Division 3 all season long. I mean, I don't know how many times we can repeat this before I start going insane, but this season has been absolutely amazing, and just looking at the championship standings proves how incredible this season has been.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, Ice Topic, Jen, B. Morgan, they've all been on the top step this season. They've been in the top position of the league table this season. Just really, really close. And yeah, Steph doing really well as well. And isn't completely out of it, although it is a bit far-fetched.
Yeah, a little bit far-fetched, but he is not out of it. We're just going to run you through the championship standings then coming into this round, and then we'll just quickly talk to you about what the championship permutations are for this event. By the way, we've had 7 winners out of 10 races this season. That's absolutely crazy. That is absolutely brilliant stuff to see that we've had so many different people stand on the top step of the podium. Championship standings then coming into the final round. Isotopic leads the way in the standings by 9 points over Jan and B. Morgan, who are level on points going into this round. Steph is in 4th on 160 points, so he's technically still within a shout. Simply Superman in 5th place. He's all but secure in that spot unless Old School has a strong race today. He's in 6th. They had a Kiki in 7th. Hero Jokin in 8th place ahead of Langfell and Lighty, who rounds off the top 10 for Ferrari. So that's the top 10 in the standings. Championship permutations. Little bit of a difficult one for us to explain this one. I think we've tried to wrap our heads around it before we got going for the stream today. But basically, as it stands, if Isotopic finishes 1st or 2nd in this race, he is guaranteed to be champion. No matter what happens, if Isotopic finishes in the top 2, whether that's if he doesn't get pole or fastest lap and B. Morgan and Jan get both, or just one of those, Isotopic will be champion. So he'll be aiming for a top 2 finish in today's race. If he doesn't get that top 2 finish, a win for B. Morgan or Jan when Isotopic is in 3rd would be enough for one of them to take the championship by 1 point, barring any pole position points or fastest lap. So there's a whole lot to go through, and I'm sure we'll try and figure it out as the race goes along. But coming into this, Isotopic, his only goal is going to be trying to finish in the top 2.
Yeah, just to make it easy for himself, he needs to do that fastest lap pole position. Doesn't matter if he finishes on the 1st or 2nd position. So yeah, that's probably what he's aiming for. And yeah, to be honest, he's doing good on technical circuits, and the season finale is a technical circuit.
It really is, yeah. It is such a technical circuit, this one, Abu Dhabi, especially that final sector. So many 90-degree corners in quick succession. And like you say, Isotopic really has thrived, especially in recent rounds. Singapore, he was on another level. He got a little bit unfortunate with some contact towards the second half of the race. But even so, he was absolutely dominant in the first part of that race when the race was underway. So who knows what he could pull off tonight. Just another thing with championship standings as well. I believe if Isotopic does get pole position, that is just the 2 points for pole position, and that would make the gap 11 points in the standings. So if B. Morgan wins this race and gets fastest lap, and Isotopic finishes in 3rd with pole position, then those two will finish level on points in the championship, but B. Morgan would win on countback. However, if it was the other way around and it was Jan who won the race and got fastest lap, and it was pole position for Isotopic, then we'd have to figure out who got the most second places, because they would be equal on points and on wins in the season. So I haven't got a clue how we're going to keep up with this tonight. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And by the way, for Steph as well, he has to win, get pole and fastest lap, and hope that Isotopic doesn't score any points for him to have at least a shot at the title. So that's Steph's permutations. He's going to be hoping for a lot of bad luck for our top 3, but who knows? I mean, anything could happen in this race.
Yeah, anything can happen. We've seen that all season long. It's been a crazy season. Yeah, that's why I'm on one hand I'm kind of sad the season ends, but on the other hand, what a finale, what a track, night race, fireworks. We're going to see it all, and probably on track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great stuff as well. Just looking through the list of drivers we've got here, we've only got 15 drivers with us. I think we're waiting for maybe one more person to just join the lobby. One noticeable thing we picked up on just before we got into the lobby, though, was the returning of one-time winner this season, Martin Bell. Martin Bell's only taking part in, I believe, 3 races this season. He is a reserve, but he is in for the first time since his win at France. So Martin Bell back in the field for tonight's race. Do you think that's possibly some OWR tactics trying to help out his OWR teammate Isotopic in this one?
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think he's going to be joining to do that. I think he just wants the win to prove his own pace and speed. And don't get me wrong, he is really, really fast. So yeah, he is one of the guys who could end up in the top step.
Definitely good. Yeah, we've got to keep an eye out for him. We can't really rule anyone out. We've had so many winners. Like we said, 7 different winners so far this season. We'll just have a recap, though, of those 7 winners before we get going for tonight's race. First round of the season feels like decades ago at this point, but the first winner of the season was Hero Jokin. He started out, obviously, we started out in Bahrain. He started out plumb last on the grid and ended up winning the race at the first round of the season. And then since then, for Hero Jokin at least, it's not been a bad season by any stretch of the way, but he's just never really been able to recreate that win from the first race of the season.
No, but he created really... There's nothing more he can do. Starting last, finishing first. He came in with a banger. Yeah, it's really difficult to repeat something like that. So no matter what you do, even if you win another race, it's nothing compared to his first race.
Definitely, yeah. Just to show how competitive this season has been, Hero Jokin won the race at the first round of the season, and since then has only been on the podium one more time, and that was at the 4th round at Baku. So just goes to show how competitive this season is. We just had someone join the lobby. I believe that is David. Yeah, David has joined. He's a reserve. He raced last week as well, and he had some pretty decent pace last time out, running in the Haskar, running in the top 5 for quite a bit of that race. We'll have to wait and see what he can pull off, and we are getting ready then for qualifying around Abu Dhabi. And another thing to note about Abu Dhabi as well is tyre wear. This track is traditionally a 2-stop strategy, so do we expect anyone to take the risk of going for a 1-stop, or do you think everyone's just going to stick with the regular strategy?
Yeah, I think the top 3, they're just going to stick to a 2-stopper, don't take any risks. But it is possible to do a 1-stop strategy from softs to mediums, but you have to go really long on your softs. And normally you would stop around lap 7 or 8, but you're going to have to keep those tires in check until lap 11 or 12 to make that. So it's really hard to do, but if you can keep your tires in check, it can save you a lot of time and position. So it is possible, but really, really difficult.
Yeah, definitely difficult. Like you say, those that are going to be easy on their tyres might be able to pull that off, and we might see maybe someone go for a medium-hard strategy. But the problem with running the hards around this track is just the amount of corners, the sheer amount of corners at this track. In real-life Formula 1, at least, this track is not particularly liked by the fans of Formula 1. It hasn't provided the best of races at previous times in real-life Formula 1, at least. But in league racing Formula 1, this track is actually pretty good for racing.
Yeah, it is. Not particularly one of my personal favorites, but it's always fun, and a lot happens there. I mean, it's really, really great to watch. My first time commentating on this track in a league race, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch. There's a lot of places here where if you make a slight mistake, you do obviously get bitten for it, especially in that final sector where it narrows up as you go into the hotel and into the final part of the lap. It is really, really difficult to nail a lap around this track. So many corners to get it wrong. And obviously there's quite a bit of runoff at some parts of this track as well, so it's very easy to run wide, pick up a penalty or an invalidation. So you have to wait and see who is going to be best at getting a lap in and who is going to be able to keep it clean in the race as well. We'll just wait to see who's going to be the first person out on track. We can already see from the fitted tyres that Langfeld looks like he might be trying to go out to set a time on the set of medium compound tyres. So we'll wait and see. And I believe it's going to be one of the Renaults out of the pit lane, and that is going to be B. Morgan, our second place man in the championship, early championship leader, second in the championship. He's still within a great shout of winning this one, but you've got to say that B. Morgan, without the poor luck he had in the middle part of the season, he probably would be in the lead of the championship at this point without that.
Yeah, he probably would. I mean, last race wasn't his best, but overall, looking back on the whole season, I think he's the fastest out of everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Across the whole season, at least, like you say, he definitely has been the man to beat, you've got to say, especially in the early phase of the season. But a few mistakes, noticeably Baku, a couple laps from the end, putting the car in the wall in the castle section. Unfortunately, he disconnected from the French round, and he disconnected as well from the last one. Managed to get back in, but couldn't really recover from that disconnection, unfortunately. So, unlucky a few times, and then a few mistakes himself has cost him the opportunity of maybe taking the championship before the final round of the season. But I tell you what, Isotopic, especially in the second half of the season, really has come alive, hasn't he?
Yeah, yes. I mean, coming into the season, he wasn't on my list as one of the title contenders, but during the season, he really, every race he started, he just started growing and growing, and his pace went faster, his quality went up. I mean, yeah, just during the season, he's really grown, and yeah, that's why he is where he is now.
Yeah, definitely. It has been a great second half of the season for Isotopic. Going to ride on board, though, with B. Morgan for a full lap around the Yas Marina circuit. Final race of the season, final qualifying of the season. Last time to try and get those pole position points. Who is going to get on pole position as we head down this relatively short pit straight in towards turn 1, the first of many 90-degree corners on this track. Through turn 1 nicely, doesn't take a lot of inside curb, runs it nicely around the outside, trying to make sure he squares off turn 2 as much as possible. Through turn 3 as well, easily flat. That's the first sector done with already. Only 17 seconds the first sector, 16.8 from B. Morgan. It's a good banker so far. Through this tight, narrow section, then through the chicane, and then through this hairpin, which should probably be reprofiled in the coming years just to try and improve overtaking in real life F1. Coming down this first of 2 DRS straights, then quite a long back straight, narrows up on the exit as it moves into the middle of the track. That's why you see a lot of drivers driving down the middle before they get to the end of the straight, and now into this tight, lazy chicane. This is what it's called. Down through the chicane, then a little bit of a dip on the exit of the corner as well, so make sure you don't wheel spin the car. Down the second of the DRS straights now in towards the triple chicane of 11, 12 and 13. Don't run over that exit of the pit entry from the feeder series. Make sure you don't do that. That can invalidate your time. Hop over the curbs nicely, nice and neat there from B. Morgan. It's a very neat and tidy lap so far. Pushing the boundaries a little bit on the inside of that corner, but getting away with it. And now into the very technical final sector. Many corners in quick succession. You can overheat your tyres if you're pushing a little bit too hard. B. Morgan keeping it well away from the exit curb there, making sure he doesn't lose too much time. Keeping it nice and neat on the exit of the corner as well, not pushing it too wide so you don't get sucked into the barrier by the curb. Penultimate corner, very easy to invalidate, and again he nails that one nicely. Through the final corner of turn 21, B. Morgan crosses the line with a 33 flat. That is a very competitive opening time from B. Morgan. Very, very nice lap from him. Langfell's going to cross the line next on a set of mediums on a 34.8, and then it's the Ferrari, I believe, of Nolan who crosses the line, on a 33.4, so goes nearly half a second slower than B. Morgan on that same tyre. Now it's the 2 Williams, Martin Bell and Old School coming around the final few corners now. Old School goes third on a 34.2, so he's 1.2 seconds off. Martin Bell crosses the line, he's 1.3 seconds off in the Williams, goes on a 34.3 in 4th place. Got more people coming up to the line. Valores crosses the line, Isotopic crosses the line, goes 4 thousandths of a second faster than Nolan, but well off the pace of B. Morgan. 4 tenths down. Steph now goes into second place on a 33.3, goes 3 tenths behind, and Hero Jokin now goes third on a 33.4. But I tell you what, that is a hell of a banker from B. Morgan.
Yeah, that's a really fast banker lap. So far, Steph, Hero Jokin, and Isotopic just can't touch it yet, but still, those guys are pretty close back together now. And yeah, really curious. B. Morgan really wants a championship. He's really doing everything. Even his banker lap is competitive enough to get pole position to try and get the title.
You have to wait and see. Yeah, we've seen a couple of times this season though where someone has set an incredible banker time and then not been able to improve on it. So I have to wait and see if he's able to improve on that time. Simply Superman next to cross the line goes P4 in a 33.4, and look at that once again, 4th to 6th, separated by 7 thousandths of a second. I mean, do we expect anything different from Division 3? It's been like this all season long, but just goes to show how close and competitive this season has been. So that is Simply Superman up into 4th place. And for Simply Superman, what started off as a possible championship contender, a few absences and then a few poor races, is just kind of fell back as the season's gone on.
Yeah, it's just the other way around of Isotopic. Isotopic grew into the championship. Simply Superman just slowly went out like a candle. Yeah, but that's it. And I think the only thing he can do now is prepare for the next season and finish this season on a high and take that into season 3.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he can do. He had obviously a great debut season now, so out, showed some great performances. Tried to carry it into this season, has had good performances, has said with Superman, but it's just never quite come together for a full championship threat, unfortunately. Steve has crossed the line on his second lap on the same set of tyres and has gone P7, and also again Nolan crossed the line as well to try and improve on his second lap on the softs and couldn't improve, so he stays 6th for the time being. There's a bit of a gap there between 6th and 7th at the moment of about 0.6 of a second, so look out for that one. A lot of drivers are probably going to slot right into that gap, including Sean and Jan, who have just started their first runs in qualifying. Sean once again on the medium compound tyres, as we see him in pretty much every single qualifying session he takes part in. He goes out for maybe 3 or 4 runs on the mediums before he goes for a set of soft tyres. Again for Sean, great start to the season, has had a podium this season as well, massively improved on last season, but just absences in the middle of the season have really negated his championship, haven't they, as well?
Yeah, they have. He missed a couple of races. Before that, as you said, last season wasn't great, but this season we could compete not with the top guys, but the higher half of the table. As Jen is really putting a good lap together. So yeah, he improved a lot on last season, and same thing for him. I hope he can take this to the next season, finish on a high here, and improve even more on season 3.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. He comes around the penultimate corner, then throwing the car through that corner nicely, and out into the final corner of the lap. Only 2 medium runners so far have been Langfell and Tekken. They're 11th and 12th. Sean goes 11th ahead of Langfell, so he's the fastest person on the medium tyres as it stands, but still 1.6 seconds off pole, as you would expect. A lot of corners here, so the tyre difference is going to be pretty big in qualifying. Jan then coming up to the final corner was a decent first and middle sector. Didn't quite see his final sector, crosses the line. 33.6, goes P7 ahead of his teammate, but behind Nolan. And that's kind of been Jan's Achilles heel this season, really, hasn't it? He's had great races, has been incredibly consistent, has been on the podium more times than anybody else, but qualifying outright speed just hasn't been his forte.
No, he definitely isn't a Ricciardo type of guy. Just it's quali breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But his race pace is insane, and he's really consistent. We've even seen him battling in quali, starting from the back and still finishing on the podium. So yeah, his race pace is really good, and I think that's why he is a real title contender. And even if he isn't gonna do it today, I hope he will. I hope all 3 guys will. But even if he doesn't today, maybe next season.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. We have to wait and see, but consistency is key to putting a championship challenge together, so he really has thrived in that aspect. Now, B. Morgan is on another lap currently, so we'll wait and see what he can do. Didn't see his first sector time, so don't know if he improved. A bit of a lock-up there down into the chicane, turn 8. Just gets away with it, though. Hits the apex still nicely. Through the middle part of the lap, it's going to be the final lap where you're going to see most of the improvement from these drivers. That's where most of the corners are in this lap. B. Morgan across the second sector split, and it's a 10th up on his personal best already, so he's finding more time. This could be the first person into the 32s. Let's see how this lap continues on. Isotopic is now on a lap as well, so we'll wait and see what he can do. Currently running in 5th place on the grid. B. Morgan then through this final sector, through that double kink, and then into this heavy braking zone that you have to turn into. Kind of it really easy to lock up, as B. Morgan proved there, under the hotel, and now into the final few corners of the lap. Runs a little bit wide there, but gets away with it. Might have to back off the throttle just a little bit. Through the penultimate corner, throws the car through that corner nicely. Hits the apex perfectly on the exit. Into the final corner now, B. Morgan crosses the line and does improve, but not quite by enough. Bang on a 33 dead. I was going to say we're going to get into the 32s. He missed out by 1,000th of a second, so B. Morgan was nearly there, but not quite. We'll see what Isotopic is doing at the moment, and he's a 10th up on his personal best, but that at the moment could get him onto 3rd place, but it's still just not enough at this point in time to challenge B. Morgan.
No, and it's going to be really tough to challenge B. Morgan. I think if he really nails his last sector, he will get a 32A, something like that. So yeah, really expecting something from him.
Yeah, Isotopic then round the final corner, crosses the line, 33.2, finds a bit of time in the final sector, goes on to the front row. So he's now ahead of Steph. That's good for Isotopic that he can get up there. The problem for him at the moment is his closest championship rival is the man that will be taking the qualifying points as it stands. We've got one of the Williams around the last corner. I think that might be Old School crossing the line, it is. And he now goes second on a 33 flat, so knocks Isotopic off the front row. Across the line comes Kelvin, he goes P10 on a 34.1. Flores just coming around to start a lap in the McLaren, and then it's the second Williams that will be next, and that is Martin Bell, currently in 11th place. To see what he can do. He's down on his time through the middle part of the lap. Let's see if he's improved in the final part of the lap. A little bit wide out that final corner. Crosses the line, goes back inside the top 10, then P10 back ahead of Kelvin. One of the AlphaTauris dives into the pit lanes. We're just waiting for a few more people then to come around and finish their times, and at the moment it doesn't really look like anyone is going to be able to challenge B Morgan. Steph's invalidated his run. Hero Jokin's on a lap, but I don't think he's found a lot of time so far on this run as he comes through the final few corners. He'll be next to finish a lap time. I believe that Steve is also on a lap as well. He's just been let through by Steph coming under the hotel. Out of the final corner comes Hero Jokin, crosses the line, goes P4, goes ahead of Steph, but wasn't enough to get him on the front row. So a good improvement from Hero Jokin. It's probably been one of his more competitive qualifying sessions so far, this one has been for him.
Yeah, I believe so. Not really on my radar for quali yet, but Old School as well, P2. We haven't seen this in a while from him, I believe. Really, really competitive on this track.
Definitely, yeah. It has been a bit of a while, like you say, since we've seen Old School right at the front of the field. He had great qualifying pace at the start of the season, and then from then it's kind of been championship protagonists that have been getting the pole positions. Nolan crosses the line, doesn't improve on his time. He invalidated, I think, coming out of the final corner, so it doesn't matter if he was going to be able to improve on that time. It would have been invalidated, unfortunately, but a lot of people now very close together. The top 7 separated by just under half a second. Goes to show how close it is. Jan's currently on an outlap as well, so you would imagine he's going to improve on his next run. So we'll wait and see, but for the time being, B Morgan holds on to pole position. Do you really see anyone taking it off of him?
Yeah, this moment I think only Old School because he's closest, but yeah, we've seen it before as well. Just after qualifying ended, at least that you could start a lap. Someone snatched pole, so yeah, I don't think so, but I wouldn't bet my money on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and bet my money on either. Steph so far this season has been the king of stealing pole positions right when we think someone has taken it, and Jan's just invalidated there coming through turn 4, so he's not going to be improving. Didn't improve on his first sector time anyway, and then turned in too early for turn 4 and invalidated his run, so he'll be diving straight back into the pit lane for a fresh set of tyres. Sean is currently on a lap in the Red Bull on his first lap on the soft tyres. He's coming towards the end of his lap now, so let's see where he can go. Langfell improved to 9th on his first set of soft compound tyres, so here comes Sean around the final corner, and it's going to be a 33.7, goes P9 just behind Jan and quite a way ahead of Langfell. So at the moment there's a little bit of a gap forming in maybe the top 7, and then it's Jan and Sean, and then a bit of a gap back to the people 10th down.
Yeah, it is, but I think
Sean's actually just dropped the car. Sorry to jump in there. Sean's dropped the car on his in-lap coming through turn 3 and has put it in the wall, and that's him out of qualifying completely. So Sean is not going to be able to improve on 9th place.
Oh, that's a shame, because he was looking pretty okay around this lap. I just want to say, yeah, probably Jan would improve because he invalidated this lap. But yeah, we're gonna see it. Everybody's now waiting in the pits for the last run to start. Get every drop of fuel out of the car that isn't necessary for the out lap and the quali lap. So yeah, let's wait and see what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Steve has gone out a little bit earlier, so he's got the track completely to himself, so we'll ride on a lap with him. Currently in 11th place on qualifying. For Steve, so far this season, he's shown great pace throughout the season, but it's just been a little bit disappointing in terms of results. It's never quite come together for him. He'll be a little bit disappointed. It's not been as successful as his first campaign in TTML Division 3 last time around when he was driving for Red Bull, so we'll wait and see what he can do on this lap. He'll want to try and finish off on a high and get ready for next season, where hopefully he can put a bit more of a challenge challenging. Coming down this first of the DRS straights, then opens the DRS nicely. He's a 10th up on his personal best in the first sector, so he's found a little bit of time as it stands currently. Kelvin is also coming around to start his next lap in qualifying in the Red Bull, currently 13th on the grid, only half a 10th off Steve, who's 11th, so just goes to show how close it is throughout the field. Then Steve through the middle part of the lap, keeping it to the left hand side, sorry, for the shortest run down this second straight, moves over to the right, ready for the braking zone, and he's now 0.3 of a second up in the middle sector, so he's finding quite a lot of time. And now we head into this final part of the lap, which is where you're going to gain most of your time if you made a mistake on the previous run. Gets it nicely through there, doesn't take a lot of inside curb, doesn't want to unsettle the car. The curbs are quite high here, so they can really unsettle the rear of the car if you clobber those curbs too hard. Steve looking nice and neat so far. A little bit of a wobble there on the exit of that corner, maybe starting to overheat the tyres just a little bit. Keeps it out of the wall nicely, nice on that exit of the corner. It's been a neat lap from Steve. This is definitely going to be an improvement back inside the top 10, but where can he put himself? Can he try and help his teammate out in the championship? Round the final corner, Steve crosses the line, so 33.7 goes P9 just behind his teammate. Good lap in the end there from Steve, good improvement, but unfortunately just doesn't quite have the pace to mix it with the top 7.
No, he isn't, but he just snatched P9 away from Sean, so maybe Sean's lucky and he can choose a tyre if someone else jumps him as well to make up for his mistake in quali.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, meanwhile, Kelvin improved in the first sector and has completely backed off his time, so I think he's invalidated maybe at the chicane, unfortunately, so he's not going to be able to improve unless he can save those tyres and his ERS and go for another run. B. Morgan has started his final run in qualifying, and so has Nolan. B. Morgan has not found any time in the first sector, half a 10th down, and really hit the curb hard there at turn 5. Lock up into turn 6 as well, runs a little bit deep, so not looking amazing so far for B. Morgan in these first few corners. It's been maybe a little bit messy as he heads down this back straight. Where can he find himself on the grid? Is he going to be able to hold on to that pole position? Isotopic starts his final run, currently 3rd on the grid. He needs that pole position to try and help him out in the championship. Another lockup from B. Morgan there, down into the chicane, really struggling on the brakes around this track. Coming down this second DRS straight, has he found any time in the middle part of the lap? It was messy at the start, so I'll be shocked if he's found an amazing amount of time in the middle part of the lap, and he's not found anything as of yet. It was a tiny improvement, but not enough to put him back in the green. Final sectors where he made a mistake on his previous run, especially coming out of turn 19, so we'll wait and see when he gets there if he's able to keep the car on the road. He's got Steve moving out the way nicely for him on the left hand side. Down into the braking zone for turn 17, another lockup for B. Morgan. He's struggling to get that car stopped through these final few corners now. Turn 19, where he made a mistake last time round, a lot neater this time round, nearly runs into the wall but gets away with it. Turn 20 and then turn 21 to finish off the lap. Again, really pushing the limits of the track is B. Morgan, trying to find every millisecond of time he can. Crosses the line and does improve to a 32.9. First person in the 32s. It was only half a 10th improvement though. Is that going to be enough? Old School's up on his time. How is Nolan doing in the Ferrari? He comes around the final corner, runs completely off the track at the final corner, but still improves to go P5, a 33.3. But he made a mistake in that final section that cost him maybe being at the front of the field. Hero Jokin's on a lap as well. We've got the other AlphaTauri of that is Tekken crossing the line going P11, so he's in the golden spot at the moment. Isotopic hasn't improved. He's invalidated his final run, so Isotopic will not get the points for pole position. It's now the two Williams that will be next to cross the line. Martin Belt and Old School. Old School crosses the line. He can't do it. So close. Less than a 10th of a second, but he's not there. Martin Bell goes P8 ahead of Jan, who's currently on another lap. Steph crosses the line. Doesn't improve. Stays P6. Flores next across the line. And then it's Hero Jokin, but Hero Jokin's invalidated his run and has spun out the final corner, so Hero Jokin can't improve on his time. Jan's obviously retired in the pit lane, or retired on track, sorry, so he's not going to be able to improve. One of the Ferraris spins across the line. That was David on a run who has spun, and I think that's it apart from Simply Superman, and he's dived into the pit lane. So in the end, only B. Morgan and Old School improve their times, and B. Morgan crucially gets the points for pole position.
Yeah, so the gap was 9 points. It's only 7 points left out of those 9. So yeah, it's really well, a great lap. In the end, his Venker lap wouldn't have been enough. I thought it would have, but it wasn't. And yeah, in the end, final run, a little bit nerves. The nerves, I think, broke his lap because he really looked good, except for his last lap.
Yeah, just a lot of people on their final runs. We've seen it quite a few times this season where a lot of people on their final runs just make a couple of errors and struggle to really get the best out of the car. It's happened a few times, so that seems to be the case again. But B. Morgan just able to hold on to that pole position. He really found the limits of the track very early on. He only improved by about a tenth over his initial pole position time at the start of the session, but that was just enough to secure him pole by 600ths of a second ahead of Old School, who's back on the front row. Isotopic, disappointing maybe not to be on pole, but third is still a great start for him. Hero Jokin with his best qualifying in a while. Nolan, Steph in 6th, Simply Superman. Martin Bell, Jan only 9th, and Steve 10th. That is the top 10 for you. Sean in that golden spot in 11th, and it's Tekken Langfell, Kelvin, Flores, David, and Frederick has joined the lobby during qualifying, so he'll be able to start at the back of the field. But my word, difficult qualifying for Jan, especially again, just the lack of qualifying speed and confidence costing him the opportunity of maybe challenging for this title in this race.
Yeah, he really likes to make it difficult for himself. He's starting from P9. There are enough overtaking points, but when you're really close behind someone, it's easy to go wide and get penalties as well on this track. So yeah, he doesn't make it easy on himself, but on the other hand, he didn't make it easy for himself this whole season, so it's nothing new for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, nothing new for Jan. He's used to being under pressure, and I think he actually thrives a little bit under pressure. So we'll have to wait and see how this race pans out for him. We have seen a couple of times this season, most obviously last time out, and in Suzuka is probably the biggest example, where the top two kind of disappear from the rest of the field, and the rest of the field are very close. Do you maybe see the same thing happening again today with maybe B Morgan and Old School?
Yeah, could be. They really look fast, and maybe that's the thing Isotopic is hoping for. I'm quite surprised that we're starting in dusk. I thought it was a midnight race, but that's going to be maybe playing a part as well in tire temperatures, starting a bit earlier than you would think. But yeah, it could be that B Morgan and Old School run away with it, but I don't think Isotopic isn't going to let that happen.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this one obviously works for Isotopic. He's going to be in probably attack mood right from the outset. He's going to want to try and get into that top 2 as early as he can and then hold on to it for the rest of the race. Looking at strategies outside the top 10, that's interesting. Outside the top 10, absolutely everybody has gone for the medium compound tyres, so no one starting on the softs. And around Abu Dhabi, it's quite technical in the first part of the lap, so it is easy to pick up damage if you're not careful. So a lot of these guys starting on the mediums, taking a little bit of a risk, but clearly thinking that starting on the mediums is the better for later on in the race, where they could either convert to a one-stop if they feel that they can do it, or maybe go onto the softs at the end of the race and have a bit more pace.
Yeah, they could. The only, just what you said, if you get damage, you have to go on another tire, and you don't want to go on the hards early on in the race, so it's probably going to be the softs, so you have to pit really early again. So yeah, it isn't ideal, but if you can keep your front wing in one part on your car, it can be a great strategy.
It definitely can, so I have to wait and see how this pans out. I think before we get ready for the start of this race, have you got a top 3 prediction for us, Conti? How do you think this one's going to play out?
Ooh, yeah, this really is a tough one, because everyone who is in contention of the title, I really hope you get it. B Morgan, Isotopic, and Jan, and maybe Steve. But yeah, I'm gonna try. I think B Morgan looked confident. I think he's gonna stay in P1. I think Isotopic will get P2 and Nolan P3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Nolan on the podium. I have to wait and see if Nolan can get on the podium. That would be, I think, his first podium since Silverstone. I think if he even held on to that podium because of penalties, I can't actually fully remember. This season has been so crazy. He did actually, yeah. He got second place at Silverstone, so only one podium to his name. Let's see if he can get that second podium. I know he's desperate to get back on the podium and get ready for next season himself as well, so we'll wait and see. But everyone is lining up on the grid. All 17 drivers are now lined up on the grid for the start of the final race of Season 2 of Division 3. What a season it's been. Let's hope for another crazy race to finish this one off. Here come the lights then. Ahead of the drivers. Who's going to get the best start off the front row? It's lights out and away they go, and it's a great start from Old School on the inside line, who's had a brilliant one. Hero Jokin has a massive snap coming off the line, and a little bit of contact there between B Morgan and Old School when Isotopic had to back out of it, and Nolan's the one that's capitalised. He's had a great start from 5th on the grid. He's up to 3rd already, challenging Old School. We've had a spinner at the back. That is Steve in the Mercedes, who's gone round Isotopic, now under pressure from Steph, but Steph decides to back out of the move, so Isotopic holds on to 4th. Steph holds 5th, but that was all a little bit triggered by Hero Jokin, who has dropped to 5th 15th. What a disaster for Hero Joking on the first lap, from 4th on the grid, the best qualifying for him in a while, and it's all fallen to nothing at the back of the field. Same for Steve as well, who's dropped right to the back, but B Morgan just about holds on to the lead. Old School though trying to chase him down after that great start. Nolan with a great start, 3rd place. Isotopic in 4th. He's leveled out now, he's not losing any places. Jan trying to get up the inside of Simply Superman, a little bit of contact, can't get the move done, but he's trying to get up from 9th on the grid. He's already up to 7th, trying to go for 6th, but now Martin Bell is up behind him in the Williams, trying to get the move done down the 2nd straight. Can he get to the outside line? Yes he can, but Jan blocks him off and he can't get the move done, so Martin stays in 8th for the time being. Jan just about holds on to 7th. Little bit of a chaotic start and B Morgan just held on to it, but your podium prediction, Nolan, has had a brilliant start.
Yeah, we can finish the race, and I've been closer than ever all this season long. But yeah, Nolan really with a great start, and Isotopic almost went into the back of Old School, or he touched the back, and Nolan just made advantage of that, and Isotopic really under pressure of Steph after that as well. So yeah, really close racing, and even I'm a bit nervous, to be honest. Ooh, oh no, just the glitch.
Yeah, I thought that initially as well. I thought someone had dropped, and yeah, like you say, it is just a timing glitch. That's Langford and Sean jumping up the order when they shouldn't be up there. But medium runners so far, all of the medium runners have had a good start to this race. I don't think any of the medium runners have picked up any damage, so that's great for them. Langfeld is currently the lead medium runner, running, and I believe, in 9th place in this race, just behind Martin Bell. But Sean is trying to quickly recover that place. He started 1 place ahead of Langfeld and lost it off the start. What a shame though for Hero Joking in the AlphaTauri. Great qualifying from him, his best qualifying in a while, and just a poor start off the line, well spinned off the line, and then just got swallowed up by the pack.
Yeah, that's not good for your confidence, especially after your best result in quali this season. But yeah, it's not over, and he's having or he can come back with a lot of clean air and just some hard racing. So yeah, isn't that bad as well? I mean, you can still have fun.
Definitely, yeah, it's great to see if he can get back through the field. Nolan, after a great first lap, is already a little bit of a gap now starting to form between Nolan and Old School. So Old School maybe getting a little bit further up the road, trying to get after B Morgan in this race, who is still holding on quite nicely. But Old School, it's just a shame really for Old School, isn't it, that the run down to the first corner is so short. I think any other track where the run was a little bit longer, and Old School probably would have had the lead into turn 1.
Yeah, he would have. I mean, he had such a good launch off at the start. He was flying. I mean, B Morgan just held on, and but yeah, in the end it was enough. And if it would have been Spain or something, we would definitely be the first one to come into turn 1.
Definitely, yeah. As it stands, championship-wise, we've got a long way to go. 25 laps in this race, so a long way to go. But if the race were to finish now, B Morgan would take the championship. So keep that in mind as this race goes on. B Morgan's just picked up the fastest lap of the race as well. If he has the fastest lap of the race and Isotopic finishes in 2nd, then Isotopic will still be crowned champion, but by a single point. So look out for that one. That is going to be incredibly close in this race. Coming onto the first lap now with DRS, and Old School does have DRS just on the back of B Morgan. Nolan has it. Isotopic is the first person that doesn't have DRS, which is interesting to see that he's dropped off the back a little bit of the top 4. So Steph is now going to be right up behind him in that house, looking to make his way through the field as well. So Steph, after maybe a little bit of a lowly qualifying, as Isotopic a little bit wide there out of the corner, and he basically opens the door for Steph and says, do you know what, you can have the inside line. And Steph is down the inside coming up towards turn 11, gets the move done. So Steph up into 4th, and Isotopic uses yet another place.
Yeah, and Flores, who's not having the greatest season, spun as well. So yeah, not good from him. But yeah, maybe this is good for Isotopic. I mean, he has nothing to lose now. So why not stick with Steph? And we know Steph is fast and really good racer. So maybe he can make the life of Nolan hard and get Isotopic up back to B Morgan and Old School.
Absolutely, yeah, there's still a long way to go, like you say, and this could be a good strategic move for Isotopic, especially considering the fact that there's a bit of a gap now. And look at that, lap 3, and Old School is already into the pit lane for a set of medium tyres you would expect. So Old School going for a very early undercut here for a set of medium tyres. This is all but committing himself to the two-stop strategy. Kelvin's dived into the pit lane as well, I think to replace a front wing, so he's had a bit of contact somewhere. Maybe him and Flores came into contact, and that's why Flores span around. Old School then, fresh set of medium compound tyres out of the pit lane, but I'm thinking that pit stop is so early that the softs might not have reached their limit yet.
Yeah, I don't completely understand it as well. I think the softs still on 3-lap-old softs, you're still faster than on the medium. So yeah, Ori really doesn't have confidence in the softs, and he's just faster on the mediums. I mean, there can be some drivers thrive with more understeer that you have with the medium tires, so that could be a thing. Or
ooh. Sorry to jump in there, just a little bit of contact there. Martin Bell was just moving out the way for Langfell, who went down the inside, and Sean, I think, just caught out by how slow Martin Bell was, tried to go down the inside to avoid contact, made a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. They got away with it with no damage by the looks of things, but that was a big moment for Sean and Martin Bell. And as we were saying that the soft tyres are still faster than the mediums, I tell you what, Langfell is flying on his medium tyres past Martin Bell and immediately onto the back of Simply Superman, and Jan has got the moved on Simply Superman as well. So Jan now started to put himself in the picture, and Langfell, I'm telling you what, Langfell is going to be a serious threat in this race.
Yes, he is, and we've seen a couple of races. We've seen he's a really good driver. He's a fast driver, not always one of the fastest, but yeah, if he can put the pressure on, as B. Morgan and Nolan are into
the pits as well. Yeah, into the pits. We have a spinner at the back of the field. That's David in the second Ferrari, so he's spun coming out of the penultimate corner and has put the car in the wall, unfortunately. But yeah, that is B. Morgan obviously coming in to react to Old School's pit stop. He obviously wants to stay ahead, and I think he might have done just enough to do that through the tunnel they go. And Nolan maybe coming in to react to that as well. As I say that though, Old School is coming through turn 2 and then turn 3. And I tell you what, actually, Old School's jumped him here. He has. Old School's jumped B. Morgan in just that 1-lap undercut. Old School a great outlap, and he's now in the net race lead, but B. Morgan will be directly behind him here, and oh my word, they nearly come into contact as Langfell has made another move. He's past Simply Superman and is now up into 4th place, so he continues his charge forwards, and B. Morgan being held up a little bit there, and that's allowed Nolan to try and close in on the back. Nolan on his ERS trying to get the move done on B. Morgan. B. Morgan trying to get the move done on Old School down towards the chicane, and B. Morgan going to get to the inside line. Old School chooses not to defend that move, but B. Morgan moves back across Old School in the braking zone, and Old School has to back out of the corner, and Nolan capitalizes on it. So all of a sudden, Nolan is now right in the thick of this battle. He has DRS on B. Morgan and has more ERS to play with, and he's going to breeze past, and all of a sudden, Nolan's our net race leader.
Wow, incredible stuff. This what can happen if just one little mistake, and Nolan really, it's the second time on someone's mistake he capitalized. He did it earlier with Isotopic, and now again with B. Morgan and Old School. And yeah, it's getting a bit above my math skills now, how we're going to end up in the standings. This messes everything up.
It really does. We're going to have to get someone to work this out for us so that we don't stress out too much. But oh, look at that. Old School first driver with a time penalty as well coming out of turn 20. And he's losing a bit of time now to the back of B. Morgan. So I don't know if he got any damage from that little scare with B. Morgan or whether he is just struggling a bit with understeer. But this battling between these three is only going to help Stefan Isotopic, because we've had a spinner. That's Tekken, who's spun coming out of turn 3. He's really struggled this season. He has at the moment. And again, just another struggle for him as he spins through 3, gets away I think with no damage by the looks of things as he comes down into chicane. He's got no damage, but his tyres are cooked, as you can see, so he's really going to struggle to get those back under temperature. Simply Superman has also pitted as well in the Alfa Romeo. He comes out in P14 directly behind Flores, but like I was saying, Nolan, B. Morgan and Old School, all of them battling is only going to help Stefan Isotopic, who are still very close together, and Jan, ever the man to extend his tyres, still going nicely on those softs in 3rd.
Yeah, he is, and again, like he does almost every week, he just crawls and crawls and crawls, closer and closer to the top guys, and in the end he's there somehow. Don't know how, you don't know from where he came from, but he's there, and he's doing it again today. As Isotopic, I just noticed, is really struggling in the corners, but his straight line speed is he's so fast in a straight line. It's just incredible.
Yeah, so they may be just going for that different setup then, going for something a bit faster in a straight line. They continue on, so this is a bit interesting for me now. Pit window is technically open for a 2-stop strategy on this lap for a set of medium tyres, which suggests to me that either these guys are going to extend a bit further, maybe, if they can. I maybe would expect someone like Jan to maybe extend a bit further because, I mean, he may as well. We may not have the pace to do it, so he may as well go a little bit longer in this race and try the one-stop strategy. But the top two still going, so they're obviously thinking that pitting that early for the mediums is only going to hinder you as the race goes on.
Yeah, and maybe Isotopic have learned from his mistake where he, I believe, did a 2-stop strategy where everybody did a 1-stop strategy and he destroyed his own race because he was too eager. Maybe he's thinking, you know what, let's extend, let's try to get in some clean air, not battle too much, and let's see where I end up.
Yeah, definitely. And Isotopic, oh, my words, Sean nearly runs into the back of Martin Bell. They nearly come into contact again. And I tell you what, since Langfell has passed Martin Bell, Langfell now can't gap Martin Bell and can't close in on Jan. So it's like almost like the soft tyres went through like a small graining phase, and now they've cleared up. And Steph picks up a time penalty in the process now as well. So look out for that as this race goes on. That is going to be a factor in this race. Further down the field, then Nolan's still ahead of B Morgan, and these two now have quite considerably dropped Old School. So Old School on the medium tyres at least, just not looking that confident.
Yeah, and he almost did what he wanted with the undercut. I mean, he came in front of B Morgan, came out of the pits behind Old School, but really dropping off now. So yeah, I wonder how he's gonna fix this, because it's really understeery, and it looks like his tires aren't that well. It looked like they're a bit hot.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got any light damage that we can't see after that moment with B Morgan. That might explain it, because it is such a quick and bizarre drop-off in pace that we're seeing at the moment from Old School. So we'll wait and see how this one pans out for him. Nolan is now starting to catch Frederick for P7 on the road. So this is his first real attempt at having to get through a little bit of traffic, and he's going to come up to a bit of traffic in the meantime. On to lap 8, and our top two still yet to come into the pit lane. So still going on, lap 8 of this race, 21 laps to go. So they're going to have to extend a lot further if they want to make the one-stop work, if they want to go onto a set of mediums. I mean, they could go onto a set of hards, and they might want to try and do that, but that is a risk with how difficult the hards are to drive around this track. Nolan still doing a nice job. Didn't get DRS though off Frederick down the first straight, so it's all going to be about the second straight if he can get a good enough run off the back of the Haas. And Frederick misses his braking zone there for the chicane and has a massive snap of oversteer on the exit, so Nolan should be able to get this move done easily around the outside, and he gets past Frederick down towards the chicane. Frederick though, is he going to stay ahead of B Morgan? B Morgan's not close enough, so B Morgan here is going to get maybe a little bit held up now.
Yeah, and this is what Isotopic and Steph need, and Nolan as well. Nolan just came in front of him relatively easy because Frederick didn't have the grip on the exit he needed. But yeah, if he holds up B Morgan now, let's see how B Morgan holds on, because we've seen in the past that he can be a bit itchy when things aren't completely going his way, and he did some harsh things and made a mistake.
Definitely, you have to wait and see. Nolan has already broken DRS to Frederick, so B Morgan, you would imagine, is going to get a little bit frustrated here. And these medium tyres for these guys are already, for Old School, 4 laps old, and 3 laps old now for Nolan and B Morgan, which is only a few laps older than those that started on the mediums. So it's not exactly like these guys are going to have a massive pace advantage at this point in the race. They will have some sort of advantage, but that's really going to negate in the next few laps or so, especially when the rest of the drivers come into the pit lane. Speaking of people coming into the pit lane, the top 3 who all started on the softs still yet to pit, so they're staying out even longer. But now you can start to see the transition as Langfell has now caught Jan and is right up behind the Mercedes driver, and Sean's gone for the move on Martin Bell and is going to get it done this time down towards the chicane. So Sean's up into 5th place. B Morgan meanwhile down the inside of Frederick, but Frederick's going to hold it around the outside of the corner. B Morgan, it's not a simple overtake, and a little bit of contact, and Frederick slides the car, so does B Morgan. And just like you said, B Morgan a little bit frustrated, going for a daring move around the outside. He gets the move done, but he's already 2.3 seconds off of Nolan now.
Yeah, and out of ERS as well, and Nolan saved some up. So yeah, he really needs to put the pedal to the metal to get back on the in the gearbox of Nolan to make any chance of winning today.
Yeah, he's really going to have to flight, like you say, in this point of the race, but he just doesn't have the ERS to pull it off. And at this point as well, we might be cooking his tyres after that little bit of a battle. Old School now going to be a little bit held up here behind Frederick, so we'll wait and see. Perfect at the moment for Isotopics Championship that Nolan is the net race leader. He needs Nolan to win this race to help him out in the championship as it stands. If B Morgan wins this race, Isotopic has to be second, and at the moment that's not how it's going to pan out as it stands. So we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. But we're on to lap 10 and they're still going.
Isotopic almost lost it in turn 2. It's really starting to slide on these tires, so probably he's going to come in now, or he's going to just lose masses of time.
Yeah, you would imagine so, that now you're starting to slide, you're going to have to come in, especially with the amount of corners, and he's lost DRS now to Steph because of that little moment. So Isotopic now starting to struggle. He's got buckets of ERS that he can use, and so does Steph as well, actually, so they saved quite a bit up. Jan now going to be under a bit of pressure from Langfeld, but I tell you what, Langfeld has caught Jan very quickly, but Sean, since passing Martin Powers, all of a sudden arrived on the back of the Racing Point, makes a little bit of contact, and they both somehow get away with it. But Sean is absolutely flying onto the back of that Racing Point, and now Nolan has caught them. So Nolan now right in the thick of a battle with a bunch of cars that at least two of them are not going to pit for a bit.
Yeah, Sean really having a great time today, I think. I mean, he's driving well. He's really putting the pressure on Langfeld, who's putting the pressure on Jen. And Jen's struggling as well. So, yeah, I wonder, are Steph and Isotopic gonna come in this lap?
You would imagine so. Lap 10 of this race, their tyres are going to be crying, especially considering they've done qualifying as well. But do they go for a set of mediums? That is the case. Steph is in, Isotopic is in, so they follow each other in. They're doing the same thing. So I think, like you said earlier on, Isotopic, I think, is just using Steph to help him get further along in this race. They're both in. Jan stays out, so Jan's still going on his set of tyres. Langfeld obviously stays out, so does Sean as well, sorry. Nolan's back up into 4th place on the road, so where does Isotopic and all that come out relative to them? They are quite a ways back, actually. Quite a bit behind, at least Old School especially, so they're going to have to make this one-stop work, because otherwise they've kind of wasted a few laps out in front on a set of tyres that haven't got any grip.
Yeah, they really struggled the last couple of laps, so they need to stick to this one stop, as you said, and hope, pray to the Formula 1 guys that they don't get a puncture in the end.
Yeah, they're really going to have to. We'll wait and see how this pans out. And then Nolan now going for a move on Sean down towards the first chicane at the end of the DRS straight, late on the brakes. But Isotopic's there, and Nolan straight into the back of Langfeld, and Langfeld hit Jan in the process. So all a little bit of a concertina, and Nolan now picking up front wing damage. That is massively costly for his race. Just too late on the brakes. Wasn't able to slow down in time for the Racing Point in front, and that's going to massively cost him. He'll be frustrated with that. B. Morgan's now caught this queue of cars as well, but it's starting to get a little bit messy, and this is really going to cost them time, especially now that Steph and Isotopic are out on a fresh set of tyres. Old School's now starting to catch these guys as well, but you can already see B. Morgan already really starting to get held up. Yeah,
he is, but he was back quite a bit. He caught up with these guys, probably guys with wing damage, and John. Yeah, John, I'm not sure. I want to say he's coming in, but he always extends every race. But yeah, this is not what B. Morgan needs at the moment. Later on in the race, okay, but not at this particular moment.
No, and Nolan's the one that's in to replace that front wing, and B. Morgan being held up behind Jan is allowing Old School right back into this, as B. Morgan really late on the brakes in turn 1, and Old School trying to capitalise on the exit of the corner and just can't do it. So Jan holding up his fellow championship contender here, and it's really starting to cost them time. Is B. Morgan going to try and go for a move down the straight? Can Old School get at B. Morgan before B. Morgan can get past Jan? B. Morgan again very late on the brakes, but just being massively held. Jan's tyres are dead, absolutely dead, and B. Morgan again into the back of the Mercedes. Old School read that perfectly, got a great run off the corner, and then ran straight into the back of the Renault because of how slow he was off of the corner. Old School's trying to get the move done on the pair of them. I think they might go 3 wide here, very possible as they go down towards the chicane, as Old School goes to the outside line. A little bit of contact, Jan's getting squeezed in the middle. Old School's trying to go round the outside of B. Morgan here. It's getting a little bit messy, more contact, and I think Old School's broken his front wing. He has, so B. Morgan gets ahead. Old School breaks his front wing off the side of the Renault. Jan gets swamped on those older tyres. B. Morgan's now in the net race lead, but they've lost so much time with that battle.
Yeah, I wonder how far behind. 2, 3, 4. It's only 6-7 seconds now with Isotopic and Steph, so they really are coming back now. And yeah, shame for Old School. His quality went really good today. Battling hard, making B. Morgan's life hard, and then he breaks his front wing. Sad to see.
Really sad to see. Just really aggressive racing, and in the end it didn't pay off. If Old School had got the run off of that hairpin, if it's been able to sneak up the inside of B. Morgan coming off the hairpin, he would have been able to get that move done, but he just wasn't able to get there in time off the exit of the corner, and he just ran straight into the back of him. So that's why that kind of all unfolded like that. Jan's finally into the pits, but you've got to say for Jan, it's just too little too late.
Yeah, I believe so. We really lost a lot of time. Yeah, let's see where he comes up. Yeah, really way
Yeah.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
way back. So, yeah, one thing is he is committing to the one stop. He can make it, I think, but yeah, it really cost him a lot. So I don't think we're gonna see him back on the podium. But yeah, who knows? It's still Jan, and it's not the first time, and everything can still happen. I mean, safety cars.
Yeah,
Who knows?
exactly. Yeah, anything like that can still happen. Simply Superman now on the back of Frederick, and they've been caught by Steph and Isotopic now as well. So Steph and Isotopic are going to be hoping that they get rid of these guys fairly quickly. Simply Superman looks like he's going to go for a move on Frederick down towards the chicane. B Morgan's got past Sean down towards the chicane as well, so B Morgan's up another place, second on the road. Simply Superman's got the move done on Frederick. He's up into 5th place, and you wouldn't imagine Frederick is going to hold his teammate up here because they're both TNR and they're both in the Haas, so you would imagine Frederick is going to move out of the way for him here as they come out of the corner. He's trying to get the move done, is Steph, on his teammate, but I think Frederick just thinks that this isn't the best place to try and get it done, so they're just going to have to wait for the time being. But I think patience is the better part of this. We've seen already that B Morgan and Old School and Nolan and all have been a little bit impatient, and it's all cost them heavily. So if these guys are just a little bit patient, the race is going to come to them.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so. I think you're right. The only ones who are hoping for other people not to be patient is, I think, Isotopic, because he has a long way to go down in P8 now, but he catches up with Frederick and Steph. With Frederick, and yeah, let's see if he can pass these guys relatively quickly. He really needs to
As he actually gets the move done.
Yeah, he does.
He does, yeah, through turn 3. I think Frederick could just understeering now on those medium tyres, understeering through the corner, and Isotopic just thought, I'm not going to wait, he's just going to get the move done now, so he gets it done and keeps DRS to Seth in front. So that actually worked out pretty nicely for the pair of them.
It did, and yeah, they're now catching up to Simply Superman, so let's see when they're gonna pass him. And I'm really surprised to see Old School still going with front wing damage.
Yeah, decided to continue on. Maybe doesn't want to pit too early for a set of the medium tyres. Meanwhile, Langfell's coming back at B Morgan down towards the chicane here, and B Morgan can do absolutely nothing about it. Langfell breezed past in a straight line like it wasn't even there. So Langfell gets the move done, and B Morgan's now going to get a little bit stuck. Old School got the move done on Sean, and I tell you what, despite having a front wing damage at a track with 21 corners, Old School still got some good pace. It's only 2 seconds off the back of B Morgan, who is going to get a little bit held here. Langfell obviously still on those medium tyres and has been since the start of the race. We're on lap 14, so you would imagine that Langfell's going to be coming in either this lap for another. Actually, it looks like Langfell might be extending for a one stop, so he's going to be going for maybe a few laps longer in this race as he stays out for another lap. And B Morgan, you can just see again by the body language of the car, B Morgan already starting to becoming a little bit impatient.
Yeah, he really wants to pass Langfell, and yeah, he has to be careful not to destroy his own race. As you said earlier, patience is the key to today's race and probably the championship. So please be careful, B Morgan.
Definitely, yeah, but as the more he gets held up, already Stefan Isotopic have nearly worked back the gap that B Morgan pulled out on them in the 6 laps that they came out that they stayed out longer on. So it's really working nicely at the moment, at least in this race, for Stefan Isotopic. Simply Superman getting a little bit held here by Sean, and I think Steph's going to want to try and get the move done on the pair of them here. So he's going to go for a move on Simply Superman. Simply Superman, you would imagine, is going to go for a move on Sean. They're already derating, and they go 3 wide down the straight. Sean gets mobbed in a straight line, and now Isotopic, I think, trying to get the move done on Sean as well down the inside, very late on the brakes. A bit of contact there with the back of Simply Superman. Isotopic is getting forced wide by Sean. He's trying to get the move done, trying to stick with Steph, who gets the move done on the pair of them and is now up into 3rd place. Isotopic down the inside is going to get up into 5th place. He gets ahead of Sean, but he's crucially not ahead of Simply Superman. So this is now great for Steph, who can start to disappear away from him.
Yeah, and great overtake. I mean, Sean, who might not be the fastest, but it's really difficult to pass Sean. I always see Sean like some kind of a Gandalf with "You shall not pass." He's that difficult to overtake. And in the meanwhile, I was just on board when you were watching that battle with B Morgan. He held back to not overtake Langfell, and is coming in now for a new set of tires.
Yeah. Wow, so he's into the pit lane then with 13 laps to go in this race. You would imagine for another set of medium tyres. However, Steph was already in his DRS range by the time he came into the pit lane. So technically, B Morgan is now almost a full pit stop behind Steph in this race. So if Steph can keep these tyres in check and keep some decent pace, they've got at least 20 seconds of a buffer at this point in the race, which is a huge amount of time that B Morgan's going to have to make up in 13 laps. He's going to have to be at least a second and a half a lap faster to try and win this race. And the problem is that Steph and Isotopic's tyres are only 4 laps old, so it's not like they're really going to be struggling for pace.
No, they're not. And look at this. Even Jen is now in front of B Morgan. So his strategy is really working out great. But I think B Morgan made a little bit of a mistake. I think he went in to defend from Old School, but he probably didn't know Old School had wing damage, so his pit stop was taking longer.
Yeah, now, like you say, Jan's right in front of him, and Jan's tyres are only 2 laps old, and he's probably going to the end as well. So, as Isotopic gets past his teammate, so I'll tell you what, Isotopic got past Simply Superman. I think Langfell recognised his teammate was coming through and didn't want to fight it, so Isotopic's now up into second. Remember, Isotopic doesn't have a penalty as of yet. Steph does have one, so Isotopic is still just about within range to take the net lead of this race. At the moment, if it finishes like this, Isotopic wins the championship. B Morgan is not, well, Isotopic's in the top 2, so no matter what B Morgan or Jan do in this race, Isotopic will win if it stays like this. There's still a long way to go, but my word, B Morgan has got a lot of ground to make up, and he's got to get past Jan first. And we've seen Jan in the past, great at defending, great racer, and his tyres aren't that old, so the pace difference, at least between these two drivers, isn't going to be tyre wear difference, it's just going to be outright speed difference.
Yeah, and in the race, the speed difference isn't that big between the two, so I wonder if they're going to do it. I mean, they're title contenders. Will they work together to try and get back on Isotopic, or are they going to fight and then Isotopic is the big winner out of all?
Yeah, definitely. It does feel like so far in this race, at least there is a long way to go, so stuff can still happen. But B Morgan, you've got to say, in this race so far, has maybe been a bit too reactive to what's been going on around him, and instead Isotopic and Steph, at least as well, were very proactive, stuck with their strategy and have kept on it, and so far for them at least it's working. Whereas for Old School, B Morgan and Nolan as well, they were too reactive to each other, and it's cost them so far.
Yeah, and this shows if you do your own thing, concentrate on your own race. It's always better than to react to others and stay on reacting, because if you start to react, you get into some kind of a reaction zone and you're just gonna follow others and not concentrate on your own race.
Yeah, meanwhile, B Morgan's got the moved on Jan, but Jan's trying to come back around the outside. B Morgan very late on the brakes, trying to get it stopped. A little bit of side-by-side contact with Jan, and Jan can't hold the place. So B Morgan aggressively defends, trying to hold on. This time round, B Morgan isn't re-overtaken down that second straight, and he holds 8th place then. So he's up into 8th. He's got to try and work his way through a lot of cars now, though. You would say in front of him, Frederick Hira Jokin is going to have to pit again in this race. Martin Bell doesn't have to pit again in this race, I don't believe. His tyres are 5 laps old, so they're a lap younger than Stefan Isotopic, as into the pits comes Simply Superman and Langfell. So Simply Superman for his second stop, Langfell for his first. Martin Bell, all of a sudden, he does have a penalty, but his tyres, same age as the two drivers in front of him, he can get to the end of this race and still maintain a podium if he's got the pace.
He can, and probably if he keeps driving like this, he will. And yeah, I wonder if he's fast enough to catch up with Stefan Isotopic, as Steph now really disappeared for Isotopic. But if he can catch up to Isotopic and maybe make his life miserable as B Morgan had by Nolan, and yeah, let's see how that works out then.
Yeah, definitely have to wait and see what is going to happen in this one. Meanwhile, a bit further back, Sean and Langfell have now pitted onto a set of softs, and they are directly behind Simply Superman for 8th place on the road. But Sean, completely out of ERS, doesn't have DRS off the back of Simply Superman. Langfell's got DRS on the Red Bull, so let's see if Langfell can get a move done here and get past the Red Bull into the chicane. He's not quite close enough to make the move stick. So Sean holds 9th for the time being, but a little bit of a compromise run there through the chicane. Can Langfell get the run this time round? He's got DRS and is on his ERS down this straight, and look at that. Breezes past both racing points, set up to be very fast in a straight line, and Langfell breezes past like it wasn't even there.
Yeah, incredible stuff. And I was on board with Jen, who all of a sudden just fell back from B Morgan and was in a battle with Old School, and Old School overtook him on the DRS straight, and don't know what's wrong with Jen. Maybe he made a little mistake or something, because he was on the back of B Morgan and he just fell. Yeah, he's 4 seconds behind him now.
Yeah, maybe just struggling or something around this track. He didn't have great qualifying pace, so maybe he's just not comfortable around this circuit, but it's not really the Jan we're used to seeing, like you say earlier on. So, yeah, just a little bit strange, this one, that Jan is struggling so much for pace in this race. Still a long way to go, though. Anything can happen. A safety car come out and completely change the complexion of this race. Who knows how this one is going to play out? I don't want to predict anything as of yet. Championship-wise, though, if it stays like this, like I said a little bit earlier on, Isotopic will win the championship as it stands. And I've got to say, at this point in the race, Isotopic isn't making too much of an indent on Steph, and they're both kind of saving ERS. So you probably would say at this point in the race, Isotopic has maybe resided himself to second and is just going to try and consolidate that.
Yeah, and that's all he needed. I mean, second place was enough, and the important thing for him is keeping his tires in check. So why push to get first on track as you can win a championship when you stay behind Steph?
Yeah, exactly. What is the point of trying to push and ruin your tyres if it's not going to gain you anything in the long run? So, exactly, Isotopic just consolidating, saving his tyres, trying to get to the end of the race. They will have 9 laps to go when they cross the line, so still a way to go in this race. They're not quite halfway through their stint on this set of tyres, but they're holding good, decent pace at this point in the race. B Morgan, as you would expect, is absolutely flying on his set of medium tyres, but they are obviously going to wear off as the race goes on as well. So his pace will nullify compared to the drivers at the front of the field. It will reduce and reduce further back down the field. Meanwhile, Steve and Tekken having a good old battle here down into the triple chicane, and Tekken's going to get the move done. Is he round the outside? Yes, he does. So Tekken gets ahead of Steve, who drops down to 15th. Tekken up into 14th on the hard compound tyres. Into the pit lane comes Hero Joking for the final time. So out of 4th place, he comes into the pit lane for a new set of soft tyres. He is going to come out way behind Sean, but you would imagine just maybe ahead of Frederick or just behind Frederick, one of the two, but he's going to be in a little bit of cleaner either way. So he comes back out onto the track in, I think it's going to be 11th place when Frederick comes around the first corner. It will be Hero Joking 11th place, just behind. So a top 10 finish still on the cards of Hero Joking, despite a pretty atrocious first lap.
Yeah, it has. Hero Joking came out closer than I thought.
Yeah, right
I thought
behind
he was going
him.
to be a second back, but he was really right behind him. So one slip up and he would have gone back of him. But yeah, still great racing from these guys, and Langfell really looking really faster than Simply Superman, and probably gonna pass him on this DRS right now.
You would imagine so. Hero Jokin's got the move done. He is now ahead of Frederick and into the top 10. Langfell, though, hasn't got any ERS, which is his problem. Simply Superman doesn't have any either, but Langfell doesn't have any ERS to try and attack with, so he's not quite able to get close enough as Frederick is coming back at Hero Joking down the second straight and gets it done. How many times are you going to see that in this race? People re-overtaking down the second straight. So maybe for future reference for some drivers, it may be worth just waiting and going for the move on the second straight so they can't get back past you.
That's a good tip. I'm going to remember that for tomorrow.
Yeah, good bit of tactics for the Div 4 and 5 drivers. Remember that just wait till the second straight, because otherwise you're going to get re-overtaken. Simply Superman now with, I believe, a second time penalty in this race, so that is going to cost him to the drivers behind him, who I believe are only on 1 as it stands. Jan's still clean on penalties. He is still within penalty range of Old School, but Old School continues to pull away, and Jan continues to just fall back now at this point in the race. 7-lap old medium tyres, so you wouldn't imagine he'd be struggling that much for tyre wear at this point in the race, but he's now got 3 drivers right on the back of him who are a lot faster at this point in the race. So unfortunately for Jan, it's been an amazing season, such an improvement on the first season for him, but it's just all gonna come to nothing, unfortunately, for him at the end of the season. Having led the season for such a long way, it's just not going to come together for him.
Yeah, in the end it isn't, but still I think he can be proud of the season he had, and finishing third in the championship with just the grit that Division 3 has is a really good accomplishment. So I wouldn't stay sad for a long time over finishing third. I would just see it as a win.
Definitely, yeah. Meanwhile, Simply Superman, I think, is listening to our stream, because he was going to go for a move down into the chicane, backed out of it, got the move done down the second straight, so he's up into 6th place, and that puts a cut between himself, Langfell and Sean. So good opportunity now for Simply Superman to try and gap these soft runners, who, I'll tell you what, since they pitted for the soft tyres, haven't really made that much of an impression as of yet. So Langfeld and Sean running in 8th and 9th, which is kind of where they came out of the pit lane as it was. So soft tyres, the alternate strategy on the soft tyres, at least at the end of the race, just not quite as fast as maybe I was expecting them to be.
No, I agree with you. I expected them to be a lot more racy and having a lot more exit speed than the medium runners. And I mean, it's still good tires, 7 or 8 lap old mediums, but I expected them to have a bit more grip in the corners and yeah, to see a bit more overtaking from them.
Yeah, I mean, we say that the soft tyres are bad. Hero Jokin's just taken the fastest lap of the race, but that is in clean air, and he got DRS and repassed Frederick down the first straight, so he is now up into 10th place, and he might start to close in on the soft runners in front, whose soft tyres are a little bit older, and they will wear off a lot quicker, so don't count Hero Jokin out of this race just yet, especially with Jan struggling for pace. Look at that, already 2 seconds back from Simply Superman, so Jan really struggling for grip around this track. Langfeld's going to go for the move, and Sean's going to try and make it 3 wide here. Actually, they both get past Jan well before the braking zone, so Sean down the inside, late on the brakes. Can he get down the inside? Langfeld leaves him the space, but Sean just can't quite get the move done. Can Sean get the move done down the second straight though? He had a great exit from the corner. He will have DRS. Langfeld won't have it as they come down towards the triple chicane, but ever the fast car in a straight line is that Racing Point. Langfeld holds the inside line. Sean's going to have to be really late on the brakes around the outside. Can he hold it for the inside part? No, he cannot. So Langfeld fast enough in a straight line to hold on, and I tell you what, that straight line speed for both Racing Points has worked out beautifully for them so far.
Yeah, it has. I mean, if you're defending or attacking, it's great, and in the corners it is hard to overtake. But I must say, the battles I'm seeing today, drivers having a lot of respect for each other, keeping it clean, a little bit touchy with B Morgan and Old School, but we can just forget about that today. And yeah, overall, over the season, I don't believe there have been a lot of incidents. So racing good, qualifying is a spectacle to watch, and it's clean. I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, what more do you want? I mean, I don't want to be too biased, but I think Division 3 has been the best division this season. I mean, I might get told off for saying that, but I'm not going to be too biased, but it has been in a great division, and we've only got 5 laps to go when we cross the line next time round of this season, which is such a shame. I want these drivers to stay in this division forever because it's just been so much fun. Meanwhile, further down the field, into the pit lane comes Flores and Nolan for the 3rd time in this race. Nolan is into the pit lane. What a shame for Nolan. What could have been great pace at the start of the race, capitalised on the mistakes from B Morgan and Old School, got into that race lead, and then just too eager to get through the traffic cost him. Ooh, is isotopic. Oh, okay, so that changes us a little bit now. So this has made it maybe a little bit easier for B Morgan. B Morgan is closing in on Martin Bell at about a second a lap, but at the same speed, Martin Bell, or about half a second a lap, Martin Bell's dropping back from his teammates. So B Morgan's got 6 seconds to make up here to try and get within penalty range of isotopic, but even if he does that, it's not enough. B Morgan has to win this race at this point to win the championship. Yeah,
he does. And as it stands now, please don't pin me on it, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But
touch wood. Touch wood.
Yeah. So, yeah, as we said, everything can happen in this division. It's crazy, but yeah, B Morgan really driving his socks off. He's really giving it everything, and that's great to watch as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think knowing B Morgan as well, he is going to be giving it absolutely everything. And I think fair enough, he feels hard done by this season, the amount of luck he has had. And I fully feel for him for that. So many occasions this season where the results could have been so much better than they were and it just fell apart for him. But, I mean, today's race was the prime opportunity for him to try and win this championship. And as it stands, it's not going his way. Steph Isotopic and Martin Bell so far, with the one-stop strategy, have actually made it work. We've still got 5 laps to go, or 4.5 laps to go in this race, so these tyres could drop off the face of the earth in terms of pace, but so far at least, especially for the top 2, this one-stop strategy has worked out nicely. So a bit more of a tip now for Division 4 and 5. The one-stop strategy seems to be quite nice. Steph has just picked up a second penalty, so that is not gonna lose him the race at this point, because he's over 3 seconds ahead of Isotopic, but B Morgan is now technically kind of the same gap behind Steph as he is to Isotopic, so B Morgan getting even closer now to maybe trying to steal that win away.
Yeah, it is a tiny chance, but yeah, every even if it is 1/1000th of a chance, you should take it. So and as you said, knowing B Morgan, he already is driving his socks off. if he's listening to us, he's probably gonna try to go even faster now with the penalty situation, because he obviously can't see the penalties of Steph, I think, because it's too far behind in front. But yeah, it's again, I mean, halfway the race or 3/4 of the race, I thought the gaps were so big it wasn't going to be interesting, but it's still interesting penalty-wise.
It really is, dear, and just goes to show no matter what happens in the Division 3 race and how the race pans out, it's always been interesting, and it's been so close throughout the field. Obviously, a lot of people towards the back of the field have had pretty chaotic races by their standards, and it's really not gone well. Probably from Kelvin down, everyone's had some sort of problem in this race. B Morgan is now within a second of Martin Bell, but didn't get DRS down that first straight, so he's now going to try and get it down the second straight. Time is running out, so if he wants to get this moved on to Martin Bell, he's got to get it done pretty quickly. But you know Martin Bell, he is going to put up a fight to try and help out his OWR teammate and try and keep himself on the podium. So he's going to put up a fight. B Morgan didn't get DRS again down that second straight. So he did get DRS, but he's just nowhere near close enough to get a move done on the Williams. So he might get now a little bit held up behind him through this final part of the lap. 3 laps to go when we across the line, so not a lot of opportunity left for the Renault. He's going to have to get it done as quickly as possible. Further back, Simply Superman has caught Old School and has dropped the soft runners of Langfell and Sean, and Jan is still right behind them. So Jan's going to capitalise on penalties at least of everyone up to Simply Superman at this point in the race, I believe. And the soft tyres just haven't worked, apart from Hero Jokin, whose the gap was 6.5 seconds. It's now 1.5. So Hero Jokin's finding pace on the soft tyres where similarly no one else can.
Incredible! I didn't even notice, but yeah, as you said, 5 seconds in just a handful of laps is incredible compared to Langfell and Sean. But now he isn't in free air anymore, so let's see if he is suffering from the same as Langfell and Sean, being stuck in traffic.
Yeah, I have to wait and see if that is exactly what is the problem for it. Maybe that is the problem for some of the soft runners, that they were stuck in so much traffic. It's just maybe overcooked their tyres and they haven't been able to recover from it. Langfell just struggling to keep up with the drivers in front. Simply Superman maybe going for a move on Old School here, but we'll ride with B Morgan, who is on his ERS trying to get the move done on Martin Bell down towards the chicane. Goes to the inside line. He's going to get the move done on the brakes, but Martin Bell, you would imagine, might have a run at him down this second straight. But B Morgan very late on the brakes, gets the car stopped nicely. How good is Martin Bell's exit from the corner? It's not amazing, and B Morgan is using his ERS to try and pull away. So in the end, Martin Bell actually didn't put up any fight. So B Morgan's through. He's 5.3 seconds back from Isotopic, and obviously Isotopic's got that penalty, so he's technically 2.3 seconds back, which makes him about 4 seconds off the back of Steph. It's not out of the question yet. B Morgan could still do this.
Yeah, you can, and 14 laps on the mediums, you can imagine the tyres starting to suffer a bit now. So yeah, this is his only opportunity. He really has to take it. Past Martin Bell quickly. I thought Martin Bell was playing a game and wanted to pass him on the second DRS straight, but he couldn't. So yeah, let's see if he can close it down and maybe snatch the championship away in the last last lap.
It all depends on how quickly he can catch Steph and whether Steph gets another penalty, because as it stands, if it stays like this, B Morgan's obviously not close enough to Isotopic to get his penalty. If B Morgan finishes this race in second and Isotopic is third, then Isotopic is the champion. If B Morgan wins this race and Isotopic is in third, then B Morgan is champion. So it's all riding on these final 2 laps now for B Morgan. He's the man that's going to have to make the moves in this race. Steph is going to have to try and keep it penalty free. B Morgan's going to have to try and keep it penalty free and try and get ahead of Steph on countback. At the moment, he's getting closer and closer to Isotopic as this lap goes on. So he's nearly within penalty range of the Racing Point already. He's got a lot of pace in that Renault. We'll have to wait and see what the gap is when they come to the end of this lap and how much time he's got to make on Steph. But at the moment, it's nearing about 3 seconds that he's got to make on the Haas. So it's going to have to be a stellar final lap from B Morgan. I don't know if he can pull it off, but I never say never. I mean, anything can happen, but it's going to be so difficult for B Morgan.
Yeah, it is. Unless something weird happens. But yeah, it's going to be difficult. But even though if he finishes in second and Isotopic in third, they just did great. I mean, please watch this race back, guys. I can say that now, but probably they're hearing this when they're watching the race back, because it's great stuff you guys are doing all season long, and what a finale today.
What a finale. Cross the line, B. Morgan, 2.5 seconds. He needs to make up on our race leader in the final lap to win the championship. He's within penalty range now of Isotopic, so he will beat his championship rival in this race at least. Remember, the gap between them is 7 points after qualifying. The gap in points between second and third is only 5, so Isotopic is holding on as it stands. B. Morgan's going to have to fly on this final lap to try and get within penalty range of Steph, unless Steph picks up another penalty, in which case B. Morgan would win the championship. So it's all riding on Steph, who's looking at his second race victory of the season and yet another podium. And I think this would put Steph on the most amount of podiums for any driver this season. What a second half of the season Steph has had. He's done everything he can to try and win this championship. Unfortunately, just a slow start to the season has really put pay to that. Further down the field, meanwhile, Hero Jokin's continuing his charge forwards. He's on the back of Jan now, trying to get P8 off of him on the road. He's not close enough down this straight, and then not close enough to Langfeld on track, at least to capitalise. Simply Superman trying to get the move done now on Old School for 5th place on the road. I think both of these guys are on the same amount of penalties, so Simply Superman trying to go around the outside of Old School and breezes past up into 5th place. Old School, is he going to be late on the brakes? He can't do it with the grip he's got. Not late enough on the brakes, can't get the move done. We've only got a few corners left in the race, and at the moment it's not enough. I don't want to say it just yet, because Steph, there's a few corners left in this race and Steph could still pick up a penalty. Steph through the penultimate corner and now through the final corner. He's kept it clean these fast 2 corners. He's not going to pick up another penalty. Steph is going to win the final round of the season. Isotopic, though, is going to do just enough, and Isotopic is going to hold on, and he will get this championship. Isotopic is your TTML Division 3 champion for Season 2. B. Morgan did all he could, but is 2 points shy at the end of that race. What a season it's been, and B. Morgan just misses out. Isotopic does enough to win that championship. 1.4 seconds was all B. Morgan needed to win that championship, and he couldn't get it in the end. Martin Bell crosses the line on his return, gets a 4th place finish. What a great race for him on that alternate strategy as well. Simply Superman in 5th ahead of Jan, Langfeld, Old School, Hero Jokin and Sean that rounds off the top 10. Frederick in 11th place ahead of Kelvin, Steve. We wait now for Nolan, Tekken, Flores and David to finish this race. What a season finale, what a climax to the season, and in the end Isotopic did enough to win the championship.
Yeah, and a well-deserved championship it was. In the end, B. Morgan probably, if this race had gone on 1 or 2 laps, he might have a bigger chance. But in the end, Isotopic, great stuff from him. Congratulations on the championship, and yeah, great stuff. Everybody, please be proud of yourself, because I am proud of you all for the just incredible season everybody gave us.
Absolutely incredible season it has been. This has been one of the best seasons I think I've ever commentated on in league racing. Absolutely amazing stuff. It's Steph then, from a lowly qualifying position. A bold one-stop strategy worked beautifully for him. Even with the time penalties, he comes through to win the race, his 2nd race win of the season, and another podium to add to his collection. If he stays in Division 3 next season, he's my pick already for next season's champion. What a second half of the season Steph has had. B. Morgan then picks up 2nd place in the race and 2nd in the championship. Isotopic is your Division 3 champion for Season 2. He picks up 3rd in this race and another podium for him. Martin Bell 4th ahead of Simply Superman. Good recovery from him in 5th place. Jan just didn't have the pace in that race, unfortunately. Penalties helped him at the end, just didn't have the pace to really challenge for the title. He finishes the championship in 3rd place. Langfeld is 7th on the road ahead of Old School, who dropped because of penalties. Hero Token and Sean rounds off the top 10. Frederick, Kelvin, Steve, Flores and David are your finishers. Tekken and Nolan, Tekken and Nolan did finish as well, sorry, but they had penalties and they finished a bit further back. So everyone finished the final round of the season, which is good to see. But Isotopic comes through with the championship, and that was a smart measure drive from Isotopic. They weren't tempted into the pit lane by Old School, B. Morgan or Nolan. They stuck to their own plan, and in the end it paid off.
Yeah, paid off massively. He's a champion. He's the one with holding the cup. And getting all the credits. He just did the incredible today. Stick to the game plan he probably wrote down at the start. He wrote it on his gloves, on his helmet, everywhere where you could see it. Stick to it, and ultimately it made him champion.
It really did. Yeah, that is great stuff. Absolutely brilliant. And you've got to say that if Isotopic had gone for the same strategy as Old School B. Morgan, you probably would say that Isotopic maybe didn't have the raw pace to beat B Morgan today, so doing something a little bit different. I mean, we were talking about the top 3 in the championship going safe, and in the end, B Morgan was the only one that technically went safe. Both of the other 2 went for that one-stop strategy, and now the one-stop strategy might be the preferred strategy around this track. So anyone that's watching for Division 4 and 5 tomorrow, Conte for you as well, I think the one-stop might be the way to go from now on around Abu Dhabi. That might be the new strategy, but that is where we're going to finish off today's stream, guys, and this season. What a shame it's coming to an end. I could commentate over Division 3 every week. It's been absolutely brilliant. Before we finish off, though, driver of the season for you, I'm probably going to guess. I could probably guess who it is, but who's your driver of the season?
Yeah, still, yeah, you're probably guessing. I was going to say Isotopic, but I would, even though he's a champion, my driver of the day is the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They really have been stellar all season long. This championship battle has been so close all season long, and I'm saying as well, Steph, despite obviously he missed the first 2 rounds of the season, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that he was so close to challenging for the championship, he was still mathematically in the title coming into this round, despite missing the first 2 rounds of the season. That's absolutely crazy stuff. So, if Steph isn't moved up to Division 2 next season, look out for Steph next season. He could be the man to beat. He has had a stellar second half of the season. I think has been on the podium in almost every single race of the second half of the season. So, yeah, he's definitely one to watch. But like I said, that is where we're going to round off the stream today, guys. Look out on League Racing TV for Divisions 4 and 5, the finales tomorrow for them as well. Wish Conti, my fellow commenters, good luck in Division 4 tomorrow. I'm sure that is going to be great stuff to watch as well. Tune into those tomorrow, and then obviously League Racing TV is, I believe, is Season 3 starting next week or the week after? I can't actually fully remember which week it is starting, but it might even be
starting next week.
There's it is, no break. Yeah. So there is no break. So if you thought these guys were going to get a break, then we are not. There's no break. Absolutely none at all. We're back at it straight again next week for the start of Season 3. So tune into that this time next week. That is going to be great. Myself and Conti will be commentating over Division 3 on a Thursday evening, as we have done for the past 2 seasons. So nothing is changing on this, and so look out for that next week. And obviously look out for the start of all the Season 3 divisions next week as well. So look out for that. And the final sprint round, the Sprint League round of the season, takes place next Wednesday as well, before Esports Masters League is back in a couple of weeks' time. But from myself and Conti, just thank you very much for tuning in all the way through Season 2, and we will see you next week for the start of Season 3. Goodbye.